Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and we're coming to you live from the Complete Media Network. And joining me, as always, on a Monday to cover the world of sports is Jason Cameron. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
I'm doing good. Man. It's a great Monday, kind of. A little bit overcast, but that's good because it's good for the fires and rain to get rid of the fires. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was up in Squamish today. It was overcast early, but then it got really nice and sunny in the afternoon, and it was windy, but it was really warm. And yeah, we had a really good day. Was able to finish around 3:30 or something like that, and boom, out of there, back towards the city. So feel pretty refreshed. I had 4 days off. I had a little bit of work to do on Saturday, but outside of that, I feel pretty re-energized, pretty refreshed. I had a bit of a bad back at the end of last week, so I'm glad that's done now. Needed some rest, I guess. And I didn't do any of that dry needling, but yeah, maybe one day when my muscles are as sore as that. But no, I'm feeling really good, and I was looking forward to this today. I'm really excited to talk about the weekend of sports, but I really am angry, and I have a serious bone to pick. I don't think I've been this angry in quite a while. I'm ready to just see steam coming out of my ears. If I didn't have my headphones on, there might be. I'm just furious, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a tirade really quick here.
Okay, let's hear it. Okay. What are you angry about today?
Okay, well, I'm probably going to shock you. I remember shocking you a bit on Canada Day when I said they were canceling Canada Day.
Yes.
Okay, so things have been taken another step further with all this stuff. And if you are sensitive to expletives, if you don't like swearing, if you do not want to hear me swear in the next couple minutes, turn it off. Turn the audio off. You can watch the video. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms and it's just audio, skip ahead about 2 minutes and you won't hear any expletives. But I don't think I can say all this stuff without swearing. So now we are getting close to not being called British Columbia anymore. There is a big push on to get rid of the racist names of British Columbia and be more inclusive and more indigenous to help out with the reconciliation. And we've decided that we're just going to change this whole entire fucking province, this whole entire fucking country, and we're just not even going to allow any of the history that has been built on this place. And I just want to flip out on the people that just keep coming at this. They've changed the anthem, they've changed Canada Day, they're changing this, they're changing that. It is just so fucking infuriating that I don't know what to do. I don't know, like they might actually force me to leave, to just get the F out of here and not stand for this crap. We just keep bending over backwards and changing the whole entire history to make a few people happy about this. And we are now going to be called Soul Toe Mock. That's going to be the name of our province if these people get their wish. It's just sickening. It's just brutal. I'm just disgusted. I wish I got into politics so I could just flip out and scream across at the people that are trying to change our entire history.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna say is, okay, so I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate. Okay, yep. I'm gonna play some devil's advocate. So first off, this is still in discussion. It's not 100% that any of this is actually going to go through. They're still talking about this, right?
That's right.
Okay, so with that being said, yes, there has been some atrocities, and I can actually say that word, some real atrocities done to the indigenous people.
Yes.
And yes, there absolutely has to be a discussion done about how to fix said situation with the indigenous people of this country. How to find some common ground, so to speak,
Sure.
with our indigenous people.
Yeah, fully.
And this is such a loaded topic of discussion that it's not even funny. And it's going to be a hard thing to negotiate and navigate. Finally, actually, at this point in time, we're actually talking about it. But the thing that's actually forced the government's hand to talk about it is the mass graves that they found.
Sure.
That I'm sure governments have always known that they were there, but they've never been found until this point.
Right.
And so now the indigenous people, and rightfully so, are leveraging that hardcore to do changes that they feel is necessary towards this country. Yeah, a lot of us are not going to be happy with it because of said changes are just so radically changing that it just feels almost alien to us. But for them, it feels like it should have always been this way in the first place. So now that we are at this stage of discussion, hopefully we can find some sort of middle ground as we go through this. Hopefully we don't actually have to change literally everything, and we can find a middle ground to appease them and to appease Canadians across the country.
Yeah.
Hope.
I drove up to Squamish today. On the signs heading up the Sea to Sky Highway, you see the indigenous names of Squamish, of Whistler. You see the indigenous names of the communities that are up the Sea to Sky Highway. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with, recognizing where we came up with some of these names, recognizing some of their territories that we've taken over, but they want to get rid of British Columbia because they said it's British rule and it's Columbus who came over and colonized this country. Well, I don't know. It's just people take over territories, take over areas. The indigenous people that lived in this country for many years before the colonization of it, they didn't always stay where they were born, where they lived. They decided, this isn't very good right now. I'm not getting enough food. I'm not getting proper climate. I need something different. And they would go to other territories. And what happened when they went to other territories? There would be a fight. There'd be a war. They'd fight. They'd kill each other to get that better territory. And that's just what has happened in the world all over the place. When somebody's not happy with what they have, they move to another place. And usually when they move, the people don't accept them, don't want them to be there. So they fight them off. And the indigenous people were killing each other to get the best territories. That ended up happening here. And yes, way over the top atrocities, brutal stuff that happened. But when people move, the other people say, sure, come and join us, or they fight them. And there was a fight that went on. Unfortunately, the indigenous people lost and had to give up their land and stuff. But we have bent over backwards in this country more than I believe any other country in the world. I really don't think that any other country in the world has bent over backwards to try to give reconciliation to their indigenous people. You can look at Australia, you can look at the US, you can look at many, many countries through South America, many countries that were taken over. The people have suffered and will continue to suffer and are not treated well by the government. I think our government has really, really stepped up and done a ton of stuff for the Indigenous people. They need to do more, and they will continue to, but I just don't think that you can just suddenly, because of something that, now we've discovered graves, that's it. Let's wipe out the entire history of this country, the entire history of this province, and just say, no, sorry about that. You can have it all back and do whatever you want with it. It's just, to me, it's just ridiculous. Come on, what are you talking about? No other country is ever going to do something like that.
Yeah, but part of the reconciliation process, again, is because of there is a history, but you could say that there's two perspectives of said history.
Yep.
There's the Indigenous perspective of said history, and then there's our perspective of said history. And those perspectives do not mesh at all, right?
Yep.
And so when you look at it in that perspective, then you have to think to yourself, well, what do we need to do to even try to come close to making this right? To even try to come close.
Yep.
And yes, you're going to have extremes on one end and on the other end. But as I've said before, at some point in time, there has to be a middle ground that has to be found, because there's certain things, certain facts of this matter that we absolutely know, that the Indigenous people have suffered, and we see the effects of all that suffering and heartache today. Yeah. All you got to do is go down the east side and you see that on the street. Yeah. All right. And so, and that's something that's so deeply ingrained and affected them that that's what's happened to to the people, So again, I don't have a solution to this. I'm not a sage here. I can't just sit here and say this is what needs to happen. This is what will fix the problem. I think it's something that's going to be ongoing, and I think it's something that we'll all have to work towards a certain goal of trying to do this reconciliation process together. Yeah. Because it only works if we work on it together. It doesn't work if it's just one group. It doesn't work like that. It has to be all of us inclusively working towards a common goal.
I have Indigenous friends, and I know a lot of the pain and suffering that they've had to go through, and a lot of the things, but we've always been, many of us have been very close friends and remain to this day. I just really I just don't think that suddenly, there's that term cancel culture. I don't think that cancel culture, canceling history, is the answer to their problems, to the problems that have been created. I have some things here that have already changed in this summer and over the past few months. July 8th this year, Vancouver City Council voted to change the name of a street here in Kitsilano. It's called Trutch Street, and the Musqueam people now are choosing the name of that street. They said that Trutch was the first lieutenant governor of BC. He had racist policies, and they've decided that they should no longer be honoring him with the name of a street here in Kitsilano, and there is a Trutch Street over in Victoria too. They say they're going to get rid of it. Mayor Kennedy Stewart said it's the first step of many to do this reconciliation. Toronto City Council voted in favor of renaming Dundas Street. Edmonton City Council voted to remove all city references to the name Vital Grandin, who was a bishop in the Canada's residential schools. Ryerson University, lots of calls to rename it because Edgerton Ryerson was a bit of an architect of these residential schools. I don't know where it's going to stop. I don't know, why it's going so much farther. One of my Indigenous friends, he lives in Saskatoon, and he posted something on social media the other day on his Facebook, and it was the discovery of mass graves in the Ukraine. Joseph Stalin was in power and started killing many Ukrainians. They found graves that have 5,000 to 8,000 people. And supposedly there's a grave in there that has something in the neighborhood of 200,000 bodies, possibly. This has been happening all over the world, and there are brutal dictators. A lot of atrocities have happened to people when they've had fights and wars. I mean, as a country, I think Canada is a great place. I feel like bringing this up constantly makes people doubt that this is a great place. I think people have started to question if Canada is a place they want to come. And I just feel like we're harming our country more than doing good, because I think it's going to create a divide. It makes me angry. I think it will actually force a divide between the Indigenous people and the other people in this province, in this country. And I don't see completely doing everything to try to reconcile something that you can't really is going to solve the problem.
Or you could look at it this way. Maybe Canada is that great a country because we have the courage to try. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to do what we can. We're trying to make this country as great as it possibly can be by being inclusive and being sensitive to the needs of the first Canadians that were here, right? So maybe that's actually what makes our country great. You're saying that it could create the divide, but I'm saying that actually could be a galvanizing factor to bring us all together, because now you're shining a light on the problem for the Indigenous people that we all know has been a problem for a while. We don't know exactly what it is, but you see it every day. So you know that there's a problem there, and you know that something has to change. Something has to come about to hopefully have positive effect for these people. And as we go through this whole process, and it's going to be a process, my friend, it really is, because we're seeing it now as we go through it. You know, it's just going to be something that's going to be a constant talking point. It's going to be a point of contention too, as well, because I can honestly say that as being a person of color, and with the whole Black Lives Matter, I've had that conversation with others saying, why do we need to keep talking about this, right? There's a similarity there, because it's like, well, I don't know about you, but that affects me, like, I don't know, every day of every second of my life. Yeah. So that's why the conversation will continue to keep happening. That's why they want this conversation to continue to keep happening until we get to a point where people are happy. Now, when is that point going to happen? Yeah, I know, right? Like, when is that actual point going to happen? I don't
see them ever being happy. That's the thing, though. Like, they can point to, like you say, the downtown east side. They can point to, this and that all the time. I don't see them ever being happy. So do you? I don't know. Like, if you're trying to make someone happy that's never going to be happy, is there a point where you have to just say that's enough, that's done? Like, they're never ever going to be happy. I guarantee it. So I don't know, there's got to be a point.
There has to be a point, but like I said before, that's why we keep talking about it. Like, we just have to find some sort of common ground. Yeah, probably not everybody's going to be happy, but at some point in time, I would like to hope that we find something where at least there's some sort of satisfaction about the changes that have been enacted and that have happened. There's some sort of satisfaction.
Right. Okay, well, yeah, I guess it's more talks for a different day. And thanks for allowing me to vent a bit. Just I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated by it, and I feel, I just feel like it's something that is just, I think it's just changing something that I thought was quite great and making everybody think that it's terrible, and it's such a brutal place that treated people so badly that we shouldn't honor it anymore. And I'm proud to be Canadian. I'm proud of this country. I'm happy to be here in British Columbia. I do not want every day to open up the news, listen to the radio, watch TV, and see massive change going to it, because I don't think it needs massive change.
Yeah. Well, every country has their dark history.
Yeah.
This is ours. This is what we have to deal with. And, I think we're trying our best. I think everybody's trying their best to try to deal with what we're dealing with right now, with the indigenous, with the indigenous people. And we're trying, and that's the best you could ever ask from anybody, any government, is that they're trying their best, and we're trying to make this as right as can be in a situation that's almost impossible to make right, because we know what's happened. We know what the history is, and it's the atrocities are absolutely ridiculously horrible. So, and you're just trying to fix that. And that's something that maybe you'll never actually be able to do, but at least hopefully you can get to a point where people are somewhat satisfied with the end result at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to what we normally talk about, sports here. And there was a lot going on this weekend. We've talked the last couple of weeks about being the dog days of summer. Not a ton happening in the world of sports. We're waiting for the NBA season to start, NHL season, NFL season. Just kind of all these leagues are sort of on the cusp of starting, but not really, till September. So there was UFC, which is going to be fun to talk about. But, I think the biggest story of the weekend, amazingly enough, was boxing. And there was a pay-per-view last night that everybody was talking about on the radio today. Lots of things on social media, tons of stuff all over online. I know you didn't watch it, but I did. And we've got Jake Paul, somehow one of the greatest promoters to ever live. Calls himself Problem Child, went on YouTube, got 5 million followers, acted like a goof and a fool, suddenly decided to get into boxing, and has given this world boxing in this form, started putting boxing back on the map in lots of places. This night was in Cleveland, Ohio, his hometown, and he takes on a former mixed martial artist, UFC champion, washed up champion, but a champion nonetheless, in Tyron Woodley, and he won again. Shockingly enough, he understood boxing much better than Woodley. He knew how to get points. He didn't throw the best shots. He didn't throw the damaging blows, but he landed shots enough to win the first 3 rounds, and then a couple of rounds after that, and took a split decision victory. I believe he won the fight. It was a farce, and it was pretty ridiculous, but it was, to me, the biggest story of the weekend.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say about I'm just going to call it what it is, celebrity boxing.
Yeah.
That's because that's what it is. It's celebrity boxing. I'm going to make you a promise here today.
Mm-hmm.
I will watch the Pauls fight when they fight a real boxer.
Okay.
That's when I'll watch. Until that point, I'm not going to watch because I can't help promote what they're doing because it's not. It's to me that's not. I'm a purist, a boxing purist, and that's not really boxing.
Right.
That's just a guy that's picking people that are not boxers and showing I can beat people up that aren't boxers.
Yeah.
Even though as I'm training to be a boxer 24/7. That's fantastic. Good for you. Way to beat up people that can't box. Awesome. And that's what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Now, when he fought Tyron Woodley, super close. But unfortunately, as you said, Woodley, yeah, he's kind of on the down, way down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I did hear that Woodley did knock him down. Is that true?
He knocked I guess it probably was considered a knockdown. He went against the ropes. I actually think I texted you.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture?
No, I didn't see the picture.
I think it's on your phone right now. Oh, you're on your phone right now, me and you talking?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you can't look. Well, I showed it to you. He fell against the ropes. It looked like maybe the bottom rope held him up from going down, but Woodley landed definitely the most telling shot. He really rocked him and stalked him, tried to land some more blows that would take him out, but wasn't capable of it. I talked a little bit with Scott Holborn while this fight was going on, and he mentioned a quote that Dana White had said. And he said, you watch Woodley and you think, wow, what a physical specimen. You just wish you had a remote control to control him to actually unleash his fury, because he is a physical specimen. And if he lands those shots, he takes people out, but he just waits and waits and waits and waits and doesn't throw enough to win fights. And he hasn't for a long time. So it's infuriating, frustrating, and you and I have had conversations about him before this, and he just doesn't decide to throw. He just waits. And this isn't a guy that he should have been afraid of, should have been worried about. He should have just attacked him and knocked him out. He had the ability to knock this guy out, and this guy has been fighting bums. He's not been fighting anybody. Woodley should have just wiped the floor with him. And it pisses me off because now boxing people think, oh, come on. Look at mixed martial arts guys. They can't even beat Jake Paul's in the boxing ring. How sad is their striking ability? And it makes MMA a little bit tarnished because of Woodley just doesn't want to throw his punches for some dumb reason.
Yeah, because he has this tendency to shell up, where he just doesn't want to. It's the weirdest thing, because you think with your talent and your athletic ability, you think you'd use that to your advantage, and then you don't? Question mark? You don't do it? It is a conundrum that I have not figured out with that guy. I don't understand. Obviously it's a mental thing.
Yeah,
it's a head thing for sure on why he doesn't throw, because in my humble opinion, as I'm sure with you would agree, he has the ability to take that guy out. You probably had the ability to take that guy out in the first 3 rounds.
Immediately. If I was Woodley and I had that athleticism, I would have knocked him out in the first couple minutes. Like, I just would have attacked him. I wouldn't have cared that he landed a few shots. I would have just kept throwing bombs until one's going to hit him and take him out. Like, it made you think that, could this be fixed? And then I thought, probably not, just because he's been like that the last 4 or 5 fights anyway. So it's just Woodley. And Jake Paul was like, yeah, I've seen this guy, but he doesn't throw punches, so I can beat him. Well, who can't beat somebody that won't throw punches?
Yeah. And so, and also too, that's the genius of Jake Paul. He's been very carefully selecting who he fights, knowing who he can beat, right? Because he's done that And he fought Askren too, right?
Ben Askren knocked him out.
Yeah. So he's picking these people. Apparently, from what I've heard, tell me if I'm wrong, that the next fight could actually potentially be a boxer, and it could potentially be Tyson Fury's younger brother or something like that. I've heard.
Well, he's been called out by that guy, but I don't see him doing that.
Exactly.
In the ring, post-fight in the ring, they started going at each other. Woodley thought he won. Woodley doesn't understand boxing, so you know there's more screws loose than just not throwing punches, but he thought he won because he landed a couple of big shots and had him in trouble, but he was winning round after round after round, and so he doesn't understand how to win at boxing, which is kind of strange. But the weird thing was they had a bet against each other that whoever won whoever lost, had to have the other guy's name tattooed on his body somewhere. And they made that bet. And he said, I've got a tattooist right here. If you tattoo my name on your body saying, I love Jake Paul, we have an immediate rematch. We're fighting a rematch. And he said, and Logan Paul was behind him saying, you don't deserve a rematch, you bum, you lost. What the hell are you talking about? You're a bum, you're a bum. Don't even think about it. Why would he rematch you? He kicked your ass. And it was true in a lot of ways, but I think from what he said in that post-fight interview and at the podium press conference later, I think he's realized that he's starting to bite off a little more than he can chew. And he's probably going to take a little hiatus. It sounded like, hey, I'm going to chill for a little while and, soak up the money that I've made and, not bite off some more real boxers and, get myself knocked out. I think he's going to look around and see who's the next celebrity that I can knock out and look cool at.
Yes, that's my thing. That's why I can't support these guys, because it's all about image. Like, you remember Andre Agassi, image is everything?
Sure.
That's what these guys are doing.
Sure.
Because it's all about their image. They dare not try to fight somebody like that. Like I just said, like Tyson Fury's brother, who said, oh, I'll fight that guy. Well, Jake Paul's like, no, buddy.
No, I don't think so. No, yeah.
That.
Thanks for the call out, but yeah, no, I've already got something else figured out. No, I'm not going to do that. So
Exactly.
There was a few fights on the card that were supposed to be, legitimate battles and real boxers. The co-main event had two very, very skilled women boxers that were fighting for world titles. I was like really impressed when I saw the quality of the two women there. One of the worst fights I've ever watched. It was just pathetic. It was just 10 rounds of just the exact same thing happening over and over and over and over. It was amazing how boring of a fight it was. The champ, her name's Amanda Serrano. She's 41, 1-1 now. 40 victories before this fight. She owns the WBC, the WBO, and the IBO championships in the female featherweight division, 124 pounds. 7-time division world champion. She's called the Real Deal, which pissed me off because that's Holyfield's name. So don't steal somebody that great's name. But the other girl was this Mexican girl. Her name was Yamaleth Mercadado. She came into the fight 18-2-1. But Jesus, not capable of even doing anything with this champion. It was really shockingly bad. I was like, oh my God, this is the co-main event. Like, come on. It really actually looked a bit legitimate, but super, super, super boring fight. But this is weird because there was 15,000 fans in the stands. There was tons of celebrities there, like tons of celebrities there. I'm going to list off some of the people that were there. Dave Chappelle was front row. Dustin Poirier was in Jake Paul's dressing room, hyping him up to go beat Woodley. We had Ray Boom Boom Mancini. We had some boxers like Andre Berto. There was just tons and tons and tons of famous people in Cleveland, Ohio, watching this boxing match. And they had something in the neighborhood of 1.5 million pay-per-view buys, I've heard. I haven't seen the exact figure, but they got 1.5 million people to pay $60 to watch this. How does he do it? How does somebody like Dana White, who's been in the boxing game, he's been in the mixed martial arts game for this many years, how can a guy like Jake Paul be a better promoter than Dana White? It's insane.
It actually is insane. But clearly, Jake, the Pauls have tapped into something that maybe Dana White or the UFC can never tap into, which is like because they're influencers through YouTube, and they have the younger generation's ear. They have their attention. Okay. And with that being said, those guys are smart enough that they're roping in the celebrities to garner attention. And I'm even going to go as far as they're probably giving them incentives to even come out there. You know what I mean? Right. They're saying, oh, no, we'll put you up. We'll do this. We'll do that. You get to come in for free. We'll give you the VIP treatment, because they'll probably even putting that into taking into account that's their cost of doing business, is getting all these celebrities out there and taking care of them as well, yeah, to make the event even look greater than what it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, they're doing it. And also too, Woodley would be a fool not to ask for a rematch. That was probably his biggest payday he's ever had. So of course he wants a rematch. Yeah. Of course I want to fight you again. You know? Yeah. And as I've said to you before, that's a problem. That's a problem and I love the fact that the Pauls keep poking at the bear and picking at that scab on the UFC, saying these guys are making more money with us, and it's a celebrity boxing match. Yeah. Like, to me, that's utterly ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing. You don't even want to play Francis Ngannou. So Francis Ngannou should just go do some celebrity boxing with these guys, get paid, and then come back to the UFC so you guys can pay him whatever you want to pay him. Just let him have one of those. Yeah. Although those guys would never fight him. That would be a massacre.
Yeah, exactly. Jake Paul said he actually considered paying money to every one of the UFC fighters for Saturday night, $5,000 more than what they were going to make for going into the cage, just so they would be fresh and be able to come to the fights on Sunday and be in Cleveland. They wouldn't have to go and fight. And he said he is going to be probably doing that at some point soon, paying the UFC fighters more money to not fight than to fight.
Oh, okay. That would be interesting. That I'm looking forward to, because that would be throwing down the gauntlet. And now Dana White's like, okay, you want to go head to head? Let's go. Yeah. That would be the gauntlet being thrown down. And maybe that's them trying to set up, saying, well, we might get into the fight game. We might develop our own company. We might be taking away a lot of your fighters because we're going to pay them. I think there might be a shift. Maybe he's stepping away to look into that as a real business venture.
Maybe,
yeah.
I looked up the top pay-per-views of all time. Logan Paul's first fight against KSI, don't know him, YouTuber kind of dude, I guess. 21st highest pay-per-view of all time. It was held August 25th in 2018. 1.3 million people put up their money. The top pay-per-views of all time were really dominated those by two men. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor are really the ones that have driven pay-per-view dollars. I'm shocked that this third guy is Logan Paul or Jake Paul. Jake Paul was the guy last night. The fight of the century that was held 6 years too late had 4.6 million views, pay-per-view buys between Floyd and Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, May 2nd, 2015. That fight set boxing back many, many years because that many people were pissed because it was a pretty bad example, a fight that people had been wanting for years and years and years, and they were both way past their prime, and it didn't deliver. And there was 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, and all the rest of the people that went to the bar like I did and saw it and were like, what the hell did I just waste my time on that for? That really harmed boxing a lot, I unfortunately have to say, but I'm not sure if this is harming boxing the way it's going, this stuff.
You're not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You don't know. You don't know. Huh?
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe boxing needed this shot in the arm.
Okay. All right. So then my question would be, this is a good question. Do you think the people that watch this farce of boxing, celebrity boxing, actually then go, you know what, this boxing thing's pretty cool. I'm actually going to start watching real boxers. No, son, they don't do that. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
No.
They're not into watching the real boxers, watching the real craft, because like they're fair weather fans. They're just looking at, they're just going, ooh, celebrity boxing. The Pauls are fighting again. Yes. Let's see what he can do when he fights this bum off the street.
You don't think it'll bring any fans to real boxing?
Okay, you know what? I'll give it to you. 5%. 5% of the people that watch maybe coming over to real boxing be like, you know what? I like this. I like this. I just have that feeling that these people that are watching this stuff are just there for the pure entertainment value and the shock value of it, of what it brings, and that's it.
I mean, it was in Cleveland, so I actually think that there was fans for Jake Paul because it's his hometown, but I think most people want to see him get his ass kicked. I think that's why there was so many pay-per-view buys, because people want to see him get KO'd and shut the F up and be on the canvas convulsing and finally not be able to yap so much.
Yes, and obviously too, and that's part of their marketing strategy. It's just to be just such the villain, be so deplorable and hated that people are just like, man, I cannot wait for one of these Pauls to get knocked out. And that's the reason why they're just like, well, we're not going to fight real boxers. That's why it will never happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they know that people want to see that happen. And that's why they also know we're never going to accept any of the real boxers and say, oh, hey, you want to fight me? Like if Oscar De La Hoya said, come on, man, let's do this. They're like, no.
Well, De La Hoya is fighting on September 13th.
Against Vitor Belfort. Yes, yeah. I saw that. Looks like Vitor Belfort is taking his
TRT again.
Yeah, the TRT, testosterone replacement therapy again, because he's looking jacked.
I know. He's looking super jacked again.
Yeah, he does not look like deflated Vitor anymore. He looks like he's superhero Vitor again. Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm kind of excited. I want to see TRT Vitor again. He was an animal. He was so fun to watch when he was super jacked on those things. He would just do crazy things. He would just go in and do the freaking tornado and boom, the guys would be done. It was crazy. It was back to when he was the phenom when he was a kid. It was awesome to watch.
Yeah, and that's great. And I'm glad that De La Hoya goes, take all the testosterone you need. Let's do this.
De La Hoya, I think, unfortunately, has messed up his brain. I think he has brain damage from fighting, but I also think that he has brain damage from drug use. When that guy talks, it is so cringeworthy. It is scary. He has become somebody that I just, it makes my skin crawl even hearing him talk now.
You know what? I haven't heard De La Hoya talk in a long time. Is he punch drunk? Does he slur his words? Yeah, because I know
he's messed up. Like, he's actually seriously messed up. And I'm amazed that there is any type of sanctioning. Like, these celebrity boxing matches don't seem to have sanctioning. They don't seem to care. They don't seem to have real judges, real refs, real sanctioning. They can just say, oh, well, that guy hasn't fought in 13 years and he's brain damaged. He'll still be able to come in and put on a show. It's scary. It's not cool. It's one reason why the UFC had to move into sanctioning to keep the sport alive. But these guys are back on the fringes where the UFC started, and I don't know. It's crazy. Like, De La Hoya is messed up. I would not give him a license to fight. And he's going to be fighting in a couple of weeks against a guy that's just jacked beyond belief on crazy drugs.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure family, friends have tried to talk him out of this. I'm sure of it. I'm sure his business partner, Bernard Hopkins, has said, dude, you can't even talk straight. Like, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy right now? But at the same time, you know what? If he's bound and determined, he wants to make this happen, he's going to make it happen. But you're right, though. There should be a governing body that just says, okay, just talk to me for a second. Like, try to make a straight sentence without slurring your words. Oh, that's impossible for you. You can't fight. You can't fight, man. Because if I let you go in that ring and you die in the ring, well, that's not good. Yeah. That's not good for the sport of boxing at all. So
I think it really legitimately could happen in one of these events. There are deaths in boxing every year. There have been deaths in boxing going back a century. There have been way more deaths in boxing than anything mixed martial arts wise. And because you're getting repeated blows to the head, and even if you get knocked down, you can get up and get a standing 8 count and get thrown back in there. There is a real possibility of somebody dying. And if somebody does die in one of this, does that just kill these celebrity boxing matches for good?
Yes. Yeah. I would say people would be like, yeah, there would be a movement to stop the matches immediately. Politicians would jump all over that and said, well, we can't have this anymore. The guy just died in the ring. Actually, why was he even in the ring? Has anybody actually ever looked back at the tape? Like, if it's De La Hoya, especially, if somebody like that were to die, and then they look and they go, well, look, the guy can't even string together like a decent sentence. You know what I mean? Like, why was he even allowed to get in there?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just takes one time, and then that's all over. It's gone. It's done.
One of the UFC fighters that we've had on as a guest is Tanner Boser, and Tanner Boser is one of his early opponents back in Edmonton, where he's from. He fought him a couple of times. Tim Hague ended up dying after a boxing match where he sustained some head trauma. Tanner actually fought Tim Hague twice. He fought him March 27th in 2015, and Tim knocked out Tanner. They fought again a year later, February 4th, 2016, and Tanner beat Tim with a knockout in the second round, halfway through the second round in Edmonton. Approximately about a year or so later, Tim Hague decided to have a boxing match and died after sustaining some head trauma. And it's real. And these are, fun for people to watch and go, ha ha ha, this is great. But this isn't playing. This is real life. You sustain some head trauma, you might not ever wake up ever again,
or you might never be the same ever again.
Yeah,
it's combat sports. You don't play with combat sports. That's stuff that will affect you for the rest of your life. So with that being said, those people that are in charge of letting these people in the ring, they gotta be sure that they should be in the ring in the first place, that they can be there. that they're not so physically disabled that, you know, there's no possibility that you should even be stepping in the ring because you're messed up. Your brain don't work no more. You know, like you just shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be put into the ring to take more abuse that you most certainly do not need from what we see.
Yeah.
So
yeah, De La Hoya's got, you know, more millions than all of us will ever have, and you know, great life after boxing, and you know, they shouldn't be sanctioning something like this. And you know, he'll probably walk out unscathed and he'll make some money, but yeah, it's just too bad that these things are starting to become pretty mainstream. They're becoming the talk of the sports world, and they're overshadowing real boxing and real mixed martial arts and the things that we should be celebrating. But I couldn't believe it. There was more people today that wanted to talk about this Jake Paul fight against Tyron Woodley than anybody wanted to talk about the UFC this weekend or most other sports.
Which is just ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like, it's just like, oh, really? Really? But then at the same time, there's people that want to see this kind of stuff. You know, there's an audience for it, which they've clearly tapped into. So all the power to them. Way to go.
Yeah, I talked about the top pay-per-view of all time, which is Floyd and Manny. Floyd and Connor in August 26th, 2017 had 4.3 million views. Connor did better than anybody expected, 10th round stoppage there. The third best of all time was Connor and Khabib, 2.5 million, UFC 229, October 6th, 2018. A ton of animosity there, and Connor being the way he, the way he hypes the fights up, and Khabib and him really didn't like each other. Riot happened after, but 2.5 million views there for that one. Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather fought in May of 2007. There was 2.2 million views for that one. Split decision win by Floyd. Floyd and Canelo, 2.2 million, 2013. Holyfield Tyson 2 was the fifth best of all time. That was the ear bite fight. It was called the Sound and the Fury, but everybody always refers it to the ear bite fight. 1.99 million, June 28th of 97. Tyson was DQ'd from that one. Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Connor, Nate 2. Those are tied for sixth place. Had about 1.95 million. Who else? Lesnar Mir 2. UFC 100 had 1.6 million. That card is stacked beyond belief. One of the greatest cards the UFC has ever held. GSP, Thiago Alves, Dan Henderson knocking out Bisping, and Lesnar getting that TKO victory. Tyson Holyfield 1 was 1.59 million. Tyson McNeely, that lasted 89 seconds, was 1.5 million. Mayweather Cotto, McGregor Diaz 1, on and on and on. As I said, Logan Paul, so far it's 21st. I haven't heard exactly where this one ranks, but it was great to see tons of these fights on this list. There was the top 55, and number 55 was GSP, Nick Diaz, 950,000 pay-per-view buys, March 16th, 2013. GSP won a 5-round decisions, but I recommend going to the Business Insider and checking out that list. Brings back a lot of cool memories of tons of pay-per-view fights.
Yeah. And as you were going through them, I recall watching all of those fights, and some of those fights were just epic. legendary.
Yeah.
For sure. So do I put the Paul Woodley fight amongst all those legendary fights that you just mentioned? No, not really. Not
No.
really.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So
Yeah. I wonder if I would have watched it if we weren't doing this podcast. I can't say if I would or wouldn't have, but yeah, it's tough. It's weird that it's happening so much these days. Something that won't go away probably until somebody dies. So we'll see how long it lasts. Yeah, let's turn to the real fighters. The UFC had a great card on as usual. This one was UFC 35 from UFC Vegas 35. It was ESPN 30. Had the featherweight main event between Edson Barboza and Giga Chickadze. And I said Barboza was going to kick his ass. He had way better experience, way better opponents. Giga just really hadn't been tested yet, and I was fully wrong. Chickadze's kicks and his ability to blast at Barboza, took him out early, and it was impressive performance for sure.
I was impressed by the fact that Barboza he controlled the center of the octagon, and Giga was just like, okay, then I'll just skirt around the edges. And then he sniped him. Like, he was the better sniper out of the two, which was like just immensely apparent as the fight wore on. Yeah. Where, we know what to expect from Barboza. And then Chickadze stepping up in competition like that, we didn't know exactly how he would do. And then he showed it. Because he said, I'm the best striker in this division. Well, from that performance, he might be the best striker in the division. Yeah. So now, with that being said, that call out that he had, I loved it.
Max Holloway?
With Max Holloway, that would be one hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Hell of a fight. Yeah. But going back to what I was going to say, though, about the Barboza Chickadze, Barboza took the center of the ring, controlled it. Chickadze was actually harder to hit than Barboza, I think, was expecting. He was in and out, and he was the faster fighter. Yeah. Again, I was surprised at that, too. He was the faster fighter of the two. So he was in to hit, and then he was out, and he wasn't getting hit. Yeah. That was a huge difference in the fight. Huge difference.
There was, yeah, man. Yeah, he really was able to keep the distance when he needed to and work around on the outside. And once he landed that big shot on Barboza, really wobbled him and then just went in for the kill. Barboza lasted about a minute, but he just couldn't withstand the onslaught. It was just kept coming and coming and coming. Finally, Jason Herzog jumped in to save him. That makes him 7 wins in a row. Arnold Allen is the only guy in that division that has more with 8. Volkanovski has 7. Chickadze has 7, and Bryce Mitchell only has 5. Giga wants to be the backup for that Volkanovski Ortega battle, just in case one guy falls off. I can't see why that would be a big problem, except his ranking is much lower than, a lot of the other guys that, might be screaming for a title shot. But he said, if I can't be that backup fighter, then Max Holloway. And Holloway's scheduled for fights. I'm trying to see who his next opponent is, but do you remember?
No, I don't remember who he's I want to say he's fighting somebody in the top 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here.
But I can't see that he's supposed to fight.
Reminded me, but yeah, nothing comes up immediately when I look, but man, that would be a phenomenal fight.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, such a great call out. I was impressed by Chickadze even after he boasted a little bit that I am the greatest striker in this division, but he had great words for Barboza, said a lot of really nice things about him. He talked about Dariush being one of the reasons why he is where he is. And Dana White said a ton of good things about him, gave him a $50K bonus for that victory. And yeah, he definitely really impressed and showed his world-class skill. I just didn't think that the quality of fighters that he had faced really gave him legitimacy, but that was a huge win over a super, super tough opponent. I was surprised that he was faster than Barboza. It was pretty shocking to me.
Yeah, so was I. I was super surprised at that. And then also too, just looking at his body type, you don't think he have the power that he generates,
No.
but he most certainly does. Like Barboza doesn't have those big reactions over nothing.
No.
He got rocked, man.
Yeah.
In that third round where he just took him out the way he did, it's almost like he kind of flipped the switch and said, okay, I think we're done playing around here. Time for you to go down.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
what happened.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, super impressive. And yeah, we'll see what the UFC does with him. But yeah, Ninja's definitely moving up the ranks, coming in number 10 ranked. And yeah, he should be probably top, 6 or, something like that now after that. This was a really big feature of the Ultimate Fighter. Lots of the guys on this card came through the Ultimate Fighter. Great to see the Ultimate Fighter back for this season 29. There hadn't been Ultimate Fighter in a few years. They had really just turned to this Dana White Contender Series instead, but great to see. And the two main battles were really harkening back to where you see guys are fighting for their lifestyle, their career. If you win, you've got a job. If you don't, you don't. It's kind of it just brings out the best in guys, I always think. And the two fights for the Ultimate Fighter championships and trophies were incredible. I enjoyed them immensely.
Yeah, they were great, man. They were great. The first one I'll talk about would be the battle versus Urbina.
Yeah.
And I love the fight, but I think that fight could have had more if Urbina was given more time to train.
Sure.
Because I think he was on very short notice. Yeah. So his gas tank definitely wasn't up to snuff, so to speak. True. Because in that first round, he had battling all sorts of problems. He had him in trouble. Sure. Wobbled him, took him to the ground, ground and pounded him. But then when the second round came around, he started losing steam pretty quick. And then that's where battle started to really take over and then took over the fight, submitted him, and that was all she wrote with that rear naked choke, which actually wasn't really sunk in and looked like he was actually on the chin, crushing it more than anything else.
Yeah. Battle had said that he had heard about even if you don't get it under the chin, you can still get the guy to submit if you can grab your hands and just crush it. So
yeah,
he did it. Yeah. Urbina came in as a late replacement. The original opponent that had made his way to the final blew out his knee, so he was given 10 days notice and brought in. I'm not sure if he was keeping in shape after he, lost his fight in the Ultimate Fighter prelim or in semifinal before he left the house. But yeah, you're right. He had battle in all sorts of trouble, but ran out of steam. I was cheering for him, I'll have to admit, because he was the third brother to go through the Ultimate Fighter, and I wanted him to finally be able to hold that trophy for his family. Two of his brothers had already been in and had moved up the ranks, and they lost, and he was the third brother to try to finally get that trophy for the family, and he wasn't capable of it. But I think that the UFC will probably still give him some opportunities and still schedule him for some UFC fights.
Yeah, because he still had a great showing. He had a great showing, and I firmly believe he had more to show if he was given a proper training camp. Yeah. For sure, man. So yeah, I really liked that fight. I enjoyed it immensely. and I thought that battled back to win the fight.
Good one. Good one. I hate his nickname. He has a last name of Battle. You could make so many great nicknames out of Battle, and his nickname is Pooh Bear. And I just thought, oh my God, who saddled him with Pooh Bear? You could just list many, 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 many amazing, great nicknames with Battle. And it made me think of us doing this. And I thought, what would your UFC mixed martial arts nickname be if you were a fighter here?
If I was a fighter, Jesus, I don't know. How about Ninja King?
Okay, all right.
I don't know.
Not bad.
What would
Giga's
yours
got
be?
Ninja, but you want to be the Ninja King. All right.
Yeah.
I was thinking mine would be Braveheart for my Scottish heritage and something like that, or serial killer or something, mean, nasty. I love, some of those natural born killer, some of those really cool ones. But Pooh Bear, disgusting. They gotta change it. Battle, can go with so many cool things right before you say battle. Like, imagine the possibilities. I could come up with 20, just boom.
You know what? I'm gonna say this. I think eventually, as he goes along in his career, that nickname will change to something else, something better than whatever that is. Yeah.
I sure hope so. Both these guys were on Team Volkanovski, and all four fighters that made it to these finals were Team Volkanovski. I guess he kicked Ortega's ass here, and he's going to kick Ortega's ass next month in this battle. But I was happy. I'm not a fan of T-City. Don't like him. And good to see the Volkanovski's fighters that he picked. Battle was actually his last pick out of when they picked the fighters for their teams. And he was able to raise the trophy and get the middleweight crown, and also the six-figure contract heading into the UFC.
Yeah, it was impressive. The guy that's picked last on the team is the one that comes out on top, which has to be very, very immensely satisfying for Battle.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
In watching Dana White's post-fight press conference, he gave the details on the bonuses, and he gave $50K to many fighters. Giga got one. I'll list off some of the others later, but he said that the Ricky Tercios and Brady Highstand are getting a bonus as well. It won't be $50K, but I'm paying those guys because that was an entertaining fight and they deserve something. I hope I can hear in the next week or two what they did get, but man, what a great battle this was. This for the bantamweight title. And you could really see that it meant so much to both guys. Both guys were just fighting for their life, and it was super entertaining.
This fight reminiscent to, for me, Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of intensity, and that's the type of will and heart that both men showed.
Yeah.
They fought each other at every level, at every point in this fight. Nobody backed down from one another. Even when Tercios was on his back, he was still throwing strikes. They just kept fighting each other. It didn't matter at what position they were at. Somebody was throwing something, and the other guy was throwing back. Yeah. It was one of the most entertaining fights I've seen in a long, long time. But the one thing that I was super impressed was just the want. You could see how much both of these guys wanted it.
Yeah.
And it was refreshing to see. I haven't seen anything like that for a long time, man. It was cool.
That's one of the arguments that a lot of people have of paying these mixed martial arts fighters too much, because you don't see the hunger. You don't see the, oh my God, if I don't win this, I'm not going to be able to eat tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to pay my rent. I'm going to be homeless. I can't do anything. The fight, the desire, I got to get out of my situation kind of drive sort of shows fights like this. And I'm glad you said the Bonner Griffin fight, because that crossed my mind as well. It was like, yeah, this is why they have this Ultimate Fighter. This is why these guys are fun to watch. Usually they're not super skilled yet. They're not really good at defense, but they can just stand there and blast away, take shot for shot. And you can just see more will and desire in them than you see typically in most of the other guys that are on the roster.
Yes, of course you can. And also too, now that we've gone along, definitely more skill. These two guys were definitely, they're highly skilled,
Sure.
highly skilled. So, but at the same time, okay, now you've made it. Now you deserve to get paid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you can make the argument for boxers. One of the perfect examples for me would be Canelo Alvarez. Why does that guy even bother to keep stepping into the boxing ring? He's worth like $500 million by this point in time.
Yeah.
You want to know why he likes to do that? Because he likes to prove to everybody, yeah, I'm the best.
Right.
And I love hurting people, and I'm really good at it. And
Right.
that's why I get in there to show you that I'm the best. You know, like sometimes it's not about the money. It's about always proving yourself through competition on who's the best.
True. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then between
point.
these two guys, they wanted to see who was the best out of these two guys and who would get the contract. And they fought their freaking asses off in this fight just to try to figure that out. And it was as entertaining a fight as I've seen in a long, long time. I absolutely love this fight.
Me
Love
too.
it.
I sure did. Yeah, I loved it so much. I really recommend, if you haven't seen it, viewers, listeners, yeah, try to find it. Ricky Tercios and Brady Highstand. I was cheering a little bit for Highstand, being a Spokane kid. They talked a lot about the two fighters that have come out of that camp, Michael Chiesa and Juliana Pena. And they said that, you know, we are such a small little community that nobody really gives us a ton of respect, but two fighters that came through that tough, both came into the UFC and have had successful careers in the UFC. And I was kind of a little bit leaning towards Highstand, but man, was I entertained, and I loved it. So fun to watch that fight. And yeah, I am a proponent of Ultimate Fighter, and I hope they keep running that back. It was great to think of a lot of those tough fights that we've seen over the years and harken back to the original one that saved the UFC and really put the sport on the map. And yeah, Forrest Griffin has a big place in my heart from this podcast. And yeah, great to even remember that fight, because it really did remind you they were just going toe to toe with a huge battle. And yeah, nobody wanted to quit.
Nobody wanted to quit, man. Like it was just, it was inspirational,
Yep.
you know, to see these two guys trying to realize their dream. Yes, Tercios got the contract. Are you trying to tell me that he's not going to give a contract to Highstand? Give me a break, man.
Yeah.
Give me a break. No, like that's going to happen. And the reason why he probably didn't say what their bonus was, because they probably both got double. He probably gave them both $100,000, because Dana White will do that.
Yeah.
You put on a fight of that kind of epic proportion, he's going to reward you for that.
Yeah.
And they should have been rewarded for that.
True. That's true. I hope so. Yeah. I hope it changed both their lives, and I hope they both get UFC contracts. And you know, Dana White did give Bonner and Griffin a contract.
Exactly.
And, you know, yeah, I hope he stepped up. I hope he realized, you know, out of my, you know, millions and millions, I think I can spare a little bit of money for these two. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, come on, man. Like I said, that from every Ultimate Fighter fight that I've ever seen, that was as close to Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner as I've ever seen a fight. Cool. And for me to say it like that, that means that fight was absolutely epic. It was epic.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's try to blast through some of these other fights on the card. The welterweight fight between Daniel Rodriguez and Kevin Lee. I was really stoked for this one. I was super excited. I think I was looking forward to this fight more than any on the card. And D-Rod is proving that he is a force to be reckoned with in this division. Kevin Lee is on a bit of a downslide here, 1-4 in his last 5. He had troubles making weight. He has moved up, he's moved down, he's moved back up. He's returned to welterweight and takes a big loss. I'm not sure what he's going to do. He's a hell of a fighter, but when you're losing this much, it starts becoming concerning. And yeah, he was pretty upset over this one.
Yeah, and as he should be, because he's put himself in a very tough situation. But the one thing that I noticed as he moved up in weight, Rodriguez still looked like the bigger man.
Yeah,
To be honest, like he looks like he's just a shade too small, actually, for that division.
right.
Because as I was looking at that fight, I go, Rodriguez still looks like the bigger dude. He looks like he looks like the bigger dude.
Yeah.
And on top of all of that, Rodriguez's stand-up super on point.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Wow.
Kevin Lee's chance to win that fight was to grapple and take him to the ground. That's what he did in the first round.
Yeah.
And then in the second round, Rodriguez was able to battle back and get it to where he wanted the fight, which was standing. And then in the third round, he really took over.
Yeah.
With his standing, especially with the leg kicks and taking out the lead leg of Kevin Lee, affecting his mobility, affecting his movement, so that it was harder for him to shoot at angles for the grappling. Rodriguez really, really impressed me, and off 2 weeks' notice for this fight, so he was clearly keeping himself ready.
Yeah, he said he's been really wanting to fight often and keeps himself in great shape. He looked amazing. Man, he has power and great takedown defense. Sean Brady was supposed to fight him and supposed to fight Kevin Lee in this one, and he came in on a couple weeks notice. Kevin Lee was coming off a bit of octagon rust, hadn't fought since the pandemic. March 2020 was his last fight. Actually had 2 knee surgeries in the meantime. But yeah, he's got to figure out something, because he had missed weight few of his last bouts. He was having to fight catch weight, wasn't really figuring out where to land. He actually fought for the interim UFC lightweight championship against Tony Ferguson October 7th, 2017. Ferguson beat him with a triangle choke late in the fight, only a minute left, but he's been on a bit of a down trajectory. I liked it. He changed things up and he hired Firas Zahabi, and this was the first time he was in his corner in this fight. But he's got to go back to the drawing board and figure out what's where he can land, where's his best division. And he's probably going to have to take a little bit lesser competition to try to build back up again, because you don't want to lose 5 out of 6 and 6 out of 7 where maybe you're going to lose your job.
Yeah, exactly. So he really needs to, first off, he needs to figure out what division he's going to fight in.
Yeah.
And he needs to figure out if he can even fight at 155 anymore. He might actually have outgrown that, and he's just too big now to get down to that weight. And so if that's the case, then he's trying to retool with Firas Zahabi, which I think is definitely a possibility. He's one of the best coaches out there in the UFC for sure, maybe even on the planet. But he's got to make that serious commitment to retooling or just making sure that what he does best, he always does that in the octagon. And what he does best is grappling.
Yeah.
And so figuring out how to get his opponent to the ground where he can control him and dominate.
He should have taken him down, and he should have figured out how to take him down, and just don't mess with that guy on the feet. That's for sure. D-Rod's proven that, holy cow, he is tough guy to stand and trade with. So a couple of other tough guys making their debuts in the middleweight division here. Andre Petroski against Michael Gilmore. Petroski got beat by Battle in the tough semifinal. Huge upset. Everybody thought Petroski was going to be the guy to beat and win this. But he got beat by Battle. But he didn't lose in this one. He looks like a pit bull, really tough, fast. I think he's a legitimate middleweight fighter. And I think once he gets some more experience, I think he's going to be really a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah, like once he works on his stand up, because his grappling looks like it is definitely as high level as it gets. Yeah. How many times did he pick up Gilmore and just walk him across into the center of the octagon and just slam him, or just do huge slams up against the cage? Like he did that over and over again. Yeah. In the second round, I believe Gilmore kind of had a better round. He was able to stay on his feet more, able to pop him with some shots. Sure. But then in the third, Petroski just goes, you know what? Tried to stand up, didn't work out so well for me. So I'm just gonna put you on your butt again, and then I'm gonna ground and pound you out, and that's what he did. Yeah. Ground and pounded him all the way to a finish. Although I did like the fact that the ref gave Gilmore all the time in the world to try to get out of there. Yeah. But when the man actually has his arm around his body and he's just doing this, well, eventually, ref, you're gonna have to call it.
yeah. He's got his hand pinned, and he's like, just raining down shots. Yeah, there's nothing more to be said. It's time to stop it. Yeah, because he's gonna take unnecessary punishment. But yeah, it was. Once it got to that point, I felt bad for Gilmore. Another nickname that I hated, the Gentleman. You don't want to be the gentleman in the UFC. I don't think that's going to help you intimidate any of your opponents. And I'm not sure about Gilmore. We'll see. He needs more work, but yeah, I was impressed by Petroski, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Let's talk about the Gerald Meerschaert big upset over Mahmoud Muradov. Meerschaert was supposed to lose this. He was the biggest underdog on the card. He was not supposed to be even in this battle. And man, he pulled out a huge submission win. That guy, he knows how to submit guys. And that was super impressive. I think he blew everybody's mind by winning this one.
Of course he did. Like Muradov had every sort of advantage that you look at in the fight. He's faster. He's stronger. He's quicker. He's better with the stand-up. Like everything was kind of, all right, well, this is gonna go his way. That's why he's the overwhelming favorite. Yeah. But then Meerschaert showed something else. Heart. Yeah. Plenty of heart, man. Because he took some hellacious shots and managed to keep his wits about him and kept coming forward. Yeah. He kept coming forward. And then eventually he figured out something. He kept landing his overhand left over and over again. And then he started to hurt Muradov to eventually got him to the ground and then managed it to sink in his hooks and get that rear naked choke. Even when he was getting it, I was just like, is he really going to get it? Like, is this really happening? And I love the fact that Paul Felder, his buddy, freaking out.
Yeah,
he just
that was cool.
Because he's just like, oh my God, he's really going to do this. It was awesome, man. Like I was super happy to see Meerschaert pull that off, because that was definitely a fight that he should not have won. He shouldn't have won that fight.
No, he shouldn't have won that fight. And but I can't believe he was able to get that choke in. He's got 25 submission wins out of his 33 victories. So yeah, he's no joke on the ground. Like you said, that was really fun. Felder was cheering for him big time. They had a great exchange, post-fight interview, and really great. It just, you really were starting to pull for the guy to pull off this massive upset. It's crazy when, you agree to a fight and everybody in the world says, oh my God, what the hell did you agree to that for? This guy's going to murder you. And you proved the world wrong and beat him. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was awesome to say to Felder too. It's like, like I took a page out of your book. I need to get hit like a lot before I actually start to wake up. It was cool. You know what? Like, I've always enjoyed it when post-fight interviews where friends actually interview another friend that just won. And it's just such a genuine experience that they both get to share at that point in time. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, it was really great. The feature prelim, we got to talk about that one. Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Whoa, man, he shocked the world with a hell of a kick. People started saying that was a bit of a decapitation. Man, did Alessio leaned right into it and just took it, and it was over so fast. Like, I knew he had that power, and I said, okay, watch this. You got to watch this. This guy's so powerful. I don't think this fight's going to last long. And I didn't actually think 17 seconds was going to be it. But man, that was a hell of a kick.
One strike was thrown, and that was the end of the fight. All right, that was it. One strike.
Oh,
I love the setup though for this fight where Al Hassan's son was just like, "Hey, Dad, gotta stop losing, buddy. Gotta stop losing. Gotta start winning." Right? Like his son just read him the riot act, and he goes, "You got it, son. I am gonna start winning." And it was that.
Oh man,
maybe
that's great.
Talk to him more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe pump him up some more, because if that's your response to a loved family member saying, "Hey man, I'm gonna need a little bit more from you," and he does that, maybe that guy, maybe you should talk to your son a little bit more.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, that was so great. So he's got he's the 7th fighter with 3 or more sub 1 minute KOs. Every one of his 11 wins have been by first round knockout. He is just so electric. I like that he decided to go to Colorado. He said, I had to address my cardio. I was getting gassed, and everybody knew it. Second round, I would start losing it, and other guys were able to jump on me and beat me. He went to Colorado, and he said, I was actually hoping for a bit of a long fight so I could show my cardio, but that opportunity presented itself. He said, we actually thought we were going to do it with the left kick, but as soon as I saw him bend down, I decided to throw that kick and finish it off. But I'm looking forward to seeing how his cardio is, and he's becoming more of a well-rounded fighter, I hope.
Yeah. Or I look forward to him doing another 15-second knockout. One or the other. I'm good with either or.
True.
Yeah.
He got 50K for that. Another huge bonus. I love when they show the reaction of the announcers. It's so awesome to see them jump out of there, because they're just right there at the cage, and they can see it, hear it, bam, and they're up. Oh, it's so great when they show those reactions. That was another one where, holy cow, everybody was stunned.
Yes, yeah, everybody was stunned, because it was stunning. Because, like, Jesus, you're talking about a fight where it's like one strike was thrown, that was the end of the fight, and then it was a walk-off KO too, because he just looked at him and goes, "Oh yeah, you're done."
Yeah. Okay, let's blast through the rest of it. We got to just talk of NBA, NFL really briefly. Sam Alvey, quite a lot of trouble fighting for his contract to stay in the UFC. Dana White says, I'm not going to cut him yet, but he's definitely on the chopping block pretty soon if he doesn't pull out a win. Dustin Jacoby looks really good against the dentist, Darren Stewart. Wow, that was a heck of a knockout for Jacoby. Were you expecting that?
I was not expecting that. I thought this fight would go longer than what it did. I thought it would actually be a war, but Jacoby just showed his superior technical prowess on the feet against Stewart, which ended up getting the TKO KO win.
Yeah. His nickname is the Hanyak, and I wrote down what that means, and I hope I have it here handy. It means that you are a out of line soldier that is very belligerent and extremely aggressive. So pretty cool nickname. He said it's got both Polish and Czech roots, and has some interesting story behind it. His twin brother is named Darren, which is kind of cool. He knocked out a Darren, and his twin brother was, I'm sure, cheering him on. I hope his twin brother fights too, because I would love to see both of them in battle.
No, that would be awesome. That would be pretty cool, especially if he's as good as Dustin.
He once he wobbled Stewart, I couldn't believe the heavy shots that he was throwing. Like, Stewart was in so much trouble, and he was trying so bad. Like, they mentioned they mentioned a fight. It'll come to me in a second, but they mentioned a fight where the guy was just trying his best to try, but there was no way. Jacoby was putting him down and putting him out. It was insane.
Yeah, once he had him up against the cage and he was throwing those shots, they were pinpoint accurate. Like, like the guy's coming from Glory Kickboxing. So yeah, once he has you hurt, you're going out. Yeah, it's gonna be over pretty quick.
They mentioned the Czech Congo Pat Barry knockout, where Pat Barry had Czech Congo flopping around the ring like a fish and almost knocked out, and then finally Congo just throws a shot and knocks Barry out. That was one of my favorite fights of all time.
Oh yeah, no, that fight was so ridiculous because of the ending was so unexpected.
Yeah,
awesome fight.
The only other fight I want to mention, I guess, is just Pat Sabatini. He got a $50K bonus for his submission win, and yeah, it was a great card all around. I really enjoyed it. So many good fights on this one. I was blown away how impressive it ended up being.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great UFC fight night card. Super impressed.
Yep. What do you think about next week's fight between Derek Brunson and Darren Till?
I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I don't know. Right off the bat, I want to give the advantage to Till.
Okay.
And I don't even know why, but like it just feels like he would have the advantage in that. And I've counted Brunson out before and been very, very wrong. So I'm curious to see how this fight plays out, because Darren Till is very technical when he wants to be, especially on his feet.
True.
And Brunson can be, but I would imagine that Brunson is going to do a mix of trying to grapple and fight on the feet, whereas I think Till will just basically just try to fight him on his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm leaning towards Brunson on this one. I just feel like he's on such a rise, and I think he's going to be able to take him out. I'm looking forward to the co-main event. I like Tom Aspinall. Sergey Spivak should be a great opponent for him. I love when heavyweights are a co-main event, and it should be some good fireworks. Probably a KO in this one.
Yeah, I think so, and I think the KO is coming from Aspinall. That guy's hands are ridiculous. His boxing is on point. His footwork is awesome. He's quick. He's powerful. I think Tom Aspinall takes him out, personally.
Yeah, I think Bisping has trained with him and says a lot of good things about him. A light heavyweight battle between Modestas Bukauskas and Khalil Roundtree Jr. should be a hell of a battle in the light heavyweight division too.
Yeah, and Khalil Roundtree, he has that ridiculous power. So Bukauskas better be careful of that, because he could be lights out at any point in time. Any point in time in that fight.
On the prelims, we've got a Canadian, Marc-Andre Barrios, who fought here in Canada for many years before he got an opportunity south of the border. Charles Jourdain is fighting Julian Erosa as well. It's going to be a great card as always. I'm looking forward to the card. I'm looking forward to seeing that Jourdain Rosa fight. Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm hoping the card is as good as the one that we just saw this past weekend. Yeah. Okay, a couple of quick NFL notes, then a couple quick NBA notes, and then we'll head off to our evening. NFL note, Hurricane Ida hit New Orleans this weekend. They're talking about possibly having to move the opening game between the Packers and New Orleans. The Saints have already evacuated the state. They have went to Dallas. They're training in Dallas this week. This hurricane hit 16 years to the day that Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans and devastated the city that time. This time, not as much damage because the levees haven't been broken yet, but power went out to the entire city. A complete blackout was across the grid, and there are, people in trouble here. This is kind of crazy that week one we're going to see them playing maybe in Dallas, maybe playing somewhere else. Last time this happened, they played in San Antonio and Baton Rouge. That whole entire season they didn't play in New Orleans after that hit. What do you think about all this?
It's devastating, and it's unfortunate that it's happening to that city again.
Yeah.
But at least they have the ability and the know-how, because they've already gone through it before, how to pivot and make it work for however long they need to make it work for. So hopefully, obviously they won't have to do the whole season in somewhere else, play somewhere else. But and hopefully they get it all figured out and they're able to play in front of their fans again sooner than later.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah. They can play in Dallas. Supposedly, they might not be able to train there all the way to September 12th when it's supposed to be, because Dallas is coming back to train there. But Dallas is playing on the road against Seattle week one. Or actually, no, sorry. They're playing Seattle, but a Thursday night start, I think I saw. So, we'll see how it shakes out. But tough. We're sure hope, people, there's not a lot of deaths there. Hope people don't lose their homes like last time, and hopefully they can get back to normal fairly quick. Carson Wentz, we talked about him last week, returned after that weird surgery, was able to come back a lot sooner, was on track to start week one. But guess what?
He got injured.
No, he got COVID. So he's on the shelf. Maybe not he got COVID. He's on the COVID protocol. Not for sure that he got it, but he's been in close contact with some people that have got it. His center, one of his top receivers, a couple of the coaches, they have all been quarantined. They're at least down for this week. And it sure looks like he probably won't start week one now.
Well, it's always something with Carson. Probably should have put a bet down that he was not going to be able to start.
I know. Yeah, I'm sure Vegas would have ticked that bet too. Probably not giving you the greatest odds, but
no.
Crazy. Yeah, he just seems snake bitten all the time. Their second-year quarterback, Jacob Eason, is expected to go under center, not the number one center. So could be in for a tough debut getting out there. And if it wasn't for bad luck, Carson would have no luck at all. Man, that guy is just always having trouble staying on the field.
Yeah, he is. And this one is unfortunate because this is kind of out of his hands. Like it happens. COVID happens. That's what COVID has shown us. Is that COVID happens.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. I got home tonight and there wasn't much sports on. I had the Blue Jays game on for a little bit. There was a previous NFL game, so I had it on my other TV, and I was keeping my eye on some things, but all of a sudden a movie came up that is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I'm not sure if you've ever watched it. Listen to the people that are in this movie, and I kind of think I know the name of the movie you're going to pick, but it's not the name. These guys are all in this movie, and It's gonna shock you. Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, Kareem, Isaiah Thomas, Charles Oakley, Chris Mullen, Kevin Johnson, Paul Westphal, Bill Lambier, John Starks, Kurt Rambis, Spud Webb, Tim Hardaway, David Robinson, Dan Marley, Sean Elliott, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, and the announcers are Marv, Albert, and Bill Walton. Name the movie.
Space Jam?
No, I knew you were going to pick that, but no, it's not Space Jam.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is a movie from 1995 where Billy Crystal plays an NBA referee, and they show him doing his job constantly on the court. And there's these NBA players, they use real NBA players. He's out there, little short Billy Crystal, calling fouls, tossing guys out of games. It's hilarious. It's such a good movie. It's a rom-com. He's fallen in love with Deborah Winger, and they're doing this, but he's an NBA ref, and they get to show all of these great stars of yesteryear in this movie. It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
Okay, what's the name of the movie?
It's called Forget Paris.
Get Paris.
Forget Paris.
You know what? I think I might have seen that. Like, obviously, that's a long time ago. But I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, how did they get all these players to be in the movie? Like, how did they do that?
It was amazing. I was absolutely shocked. First time I just happened across it, and it was on again today. So I'm like, hey man, I'm watching it. I love seeing all these guys try to act, and there's a few hilarious moments on the court. He gets in a bad mood, and he just starts tossing guys out of the stadium. You're gone. And he comes up to Spud Webb and says, you're the only guy that I can relate to. And they're about the same height. Awesome. It's a good one, man. It's a good one.
You know what? I do remember that. I remember that scene because Spud Webb's kind of looking at him like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, quick NBA news. So it sounds like Paul Millsap is being sought after by many teams. He's probably leaving Denver. Golden State, the LA Clippers, Chicago, and Brooklyn are all heavily trying to get this guy. He spent the last 4 years in Denver. Had a really good career, 15-year vet. Are you surprised that this many teams are trying to get him in?
He's a solid veteran player, and he doesn't take away from your team. He adds to your team. So to be honest with you, like, not really. I'm not really that surprised because all the teams that are, looking to try to make a run in the playoffs will need a guy like that. Okay. We'll need a forward of that capability and of that talent level. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I'm curious to see where he ends up going.
Yeah, I was surprised that Brooklyn's in the mix. I wouldn't go there if I was him. He's trying to find a spot with KD, Kyrie, and the beard. I wouldn't be going there. I think there's better places for him to sign.
Well, I'm going to be honest. They have money for him because I'm pretty sure they just spent like $600 million for those three guys. So sure, I'm surprised they have any money left for anybody.
True. Yeah, very true. They are trying to buy out DeAndre Jordan. For some reason, he fell out of favor with them. He was a healthy scratch the last 16 games that they played. Not sure why, but I think he's a solid center, and I think he'll bring a lot to somebody. So it would be smart for him to take that buyout and go somewhere where he's going to get some playing time.
Yes, it would be. But at the same time, I wanted to say that he was outplayed, though, by, I want to say, the guy that took his spot was Claxton.
Right.
Claxton outplayed him indefinitely. He was the better player. and that's why his playing time got cut.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get any minutes. I don't know. Yeah, I think he's a solid contributor, and should be good somewhere. Rajon Rondo agreed to a buyout today with Memphis. He's now a free agent. He has to clear waivers today. I haven't heard quite yet if he did, but supposedly he's rejoining the Lakers, where he won in the bubble, the 2020 championship, his second ring. Coming back there, it looks like Lakers have another one of those veteran minimums and going to give him some money.
Yeah. I think that's a good landing spot for Rajon. And yes, he's going to have to take a veteran minimum. But look at how the team is constructed. Like, if I'm Rajon Rondo, I want to join that team because they look fantastic. That team is better than when they won. All right, they're better than when they won. Me personally, looking at what they've put together as a roster. So yes, if I'm Rajon Rondo, I was like, okay, I'll take my money. Thank you. I'll take the veteran minimum, and I'll try to win it myself another ring.
Yeah,
perfect.
Sure. Yeah. Supposedly he's going to get about $5 million from the Grizzlies. He had a contract with $15 million for 2 years. Well, going to get a buyout for about $5 million. He'll step 2.6. So he'll get exactly what he was going to get with Memphis and have a chance at a title. So yeah, no brainer to me. Raptors have been making offers to Philly for Ben Simmons, I hear, but Philly keeps asking for way too much, guys, and they're just their offers are crazy. Supposedly T-Wolves are also trying to get Ben, but Philly just won't back off some of the asks that they want for Ben, and I don't think a deal is going to be done for any team until the season starts and they can see what things are shaking out eventually.
Yeah, I know that Daryl Morey's doing this intentionally to put that ceiling up so high so that he's trying to set it right, so that all the other teams know is like, well, we're gonna have to like pretty much give them the farm for this one player that doesn't like to shoot in the fourth quarter. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't give it to him. Yeah. Me personally, from what I saw from that playoff run, he's not worth it. Right. So no, you don't get it from me. So
no, me either. Yeah. Raptors did make a deal. They took Svi Mihalik. They gave him a 2-year deal. The 6'7" wingman was a great shooter. He played with Detroit and Oklahoma City last year. 24-year-old, usually about 40% from 3-point land. And I think it was a smart deal for them getting another shooter.
Yeah. I think that's what they needed. And good job on them on picking up a shooter for sure for the team.
Lots of rumors of guys that are supposedly going to be moving. Kristaps Porzingis, rumored to go lots of places. I've been hearing about James Wiseman leaving Golden State. CJ McCollum might be on the block with the Blazers. They might have decided that that 2-guard tandem isn't working anymore. Bradley Beal's on the block. Who else? I've been hearing weird rumors about Siakam and Van Vliet for some reason. Colin Sexton out of Cleveland. So I think there's going to be some things for us to talk about in the coming weeks before the training camp starts for NBA teams soon.
Yeah. Let's see what the movements happen, see who goes where, or if there's any movement, and does everybody just stay put where they are right now? Probably not. No. But there should be some player movement for sure.
Last was a fantastic interview on a magazine called Complex with Dame Lillard. He talked a lot about winning in the Olympics, his first gold medal, his latest rap release, a full-length LP called Different on Levels the Lord Allowed. He collaborated with Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne, tons of really great artists. And he talked about how much he loved playing in Oakland when Golden State was there. That's where he grew up. loved playing in Utah. That's where he went to college. Said, he's open to a move if Portland can't figure this out because he's getting a little frustrated. And he also mentioned that he collaborated on an album with DMX, and they've got a lot of things together to put out an album. It never got released before DMX passed away this year, and he said maybe we'd be able to pull it together and release it eventually. But a really fantastic interview. I recommend checking it out.
Oh, that's awesome. I had no idea that he actually did collaborate with DMX. Whenever that thing comes out, I'm definitely having to listen to that. That's awesome.
Yeah. T Wood, he danced into the ring last night to his rap, and another guy was singing it, but it was Woodley's song. I was laughing a little bit. There's tons of rappers on that fight with De La Hoya and Belfort. Snoop Dogg is one of the head guys of that Triller, and he's going to be there with tons of rappers. It was pretty funny before. I thought there was going to be rappers on this last card. There wasn't anything last night from what I saw, but anyway, yeah, we started talking about some kind of touchy subjects. We got into talking about some really weird celebrity boxing, but I'm glad we covered the normal sports that we get to normally talk about, and it was fun as always, man. Really fun.
Yeah, it's always an enjoyable experience, and it's always great to start off my week by doing this with you, my friends. So
yeah,
awesome stuff as always.
Yeah, well, it was great to find out that we probably are working together doing this and actually our day jobs coming up soon. So, man, that's been years in the making. I guess we worked together briefly on The Good Doctor, but it goes back to indie days when we first got into this industry. So that's going to be amazing to be able to, see you on a daily basis. It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be great. And then also too, just to know that during those indie days, I'm now on a show with the people that we both worked with on my show right now. So it's almost like this year's a reconnection of sorts, which is awesome.
Super cool, man. Yeah, really cool. It's great how life works, and it's great. We've known each other for a long time, and we've done a lot of great collaborations. I've been loving this. It's been a fantastic year, and this makes my week. I love getting ready for this, and we have so much fun. I have a big podcast coming up this week. The new owner of the BC Lions is going to be a podcast guest, and we're really excited here. We were able to secure him to agree. We haven't got a date and a time quite yet. We're trying to mesh our schedules to figure it out, but stay tuned. I'll let you know when we do it and it gets released. It's going to be exciting. There hasn't been a new owner for the BC Lions for a really, really long time. This is a local guy, first time local ownership in many, many, many years. And it sounds like, he's going to do a lot of things to make the CFL relevant here, and really can't wait to get a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, no, that's exciting stuff. That's fantastic news. Congratulations to you for getting him. And I can't wait to hear the interview. Can't wait.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Keep in touch this week, and we'll talk soon, man.
All right, you got it, man. Enjoy.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Cheers, buddy. Okay, all right. That wraps up another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. I guess I went on a little bit of a rant to begin with. Hope you didn't tune out for too long. But I had a lot of fun talking sports with Jason. That's a serious topic, serious subject that we talked about off the top, and probably will involve a lot more conversations with a lot more people. But I love where I live. I love this country. I love this city. I love this province. I love this area of the world. I've been to many parts of the world, and I really can tell you that I feel so grateful and lucky to be here. I think, yeah, this is a wonderful spot, and I don't want people around the world to hear about the conflicts and things that are going on here and think that we have anything less than a really great place. Obviously, yeah, hopefully it just keeps getting better and we have conversations that change things, but not too much, because I think too much change could be for the detriment for it. So anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed yourself. So thanks so much for tuning in as always. And just a quick shout out to our partners and sponsors. Thanks so much to Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go to Anchor.fm. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company. Pampas and Possibilities, the great curators of handmade things for your home. And Forever Living, the health and beauty products made from aloe vera. So thanks again. Take care of yourself. Yeah, tune in this week. We'll have a great podcast with the new owner of the BC Lions, Mr. Doman. So really excited about that. Okay. All right. Love you lots. Take care. Bye for now.